Paul and Jimmy, thanks very much. We welcome you to WVU Coliseum in Morgantown. Just underway, about 2 minutes in. Kansas State with the early 1-point lead. Wildcats in the white have possession, away from the ball. Gordon pushed down. He is fouled by Matthews. Matthews has a 3-point shot. That's been the only point so far offensively for the Mountaineers.
We're not even 2 minutes in, and Bob Huggins is barking at James Breeding. He is not happy with that foul call, and he's saying down the other end, K-State's holding us off the ball as well.
And these teams met 2 weeks ago in Manhattan, a game Kansas State won by 16 and led by as many as 24 at one point. There's a three from the corner. It's a little bit long from Xavier Sneed. Gordon McKay fires at Shebue. He's fouled. How about Tavius Murphy?
Well, nice job by Jordan McCabe. Not only on the pass up the floor, but securing the rebound, and then on the push with the head up and the perfect delivery to Oscar.
Oscar Shebue, shooting two.
Well, 2 free throws here for Shebue, who's a 66% foul shooter on the year. Shebue Wednesday night at Texas Tech, only 4 points, Tim, in 21 minutes. He got one of the technical fouls, one of 3 technical fouls in that game assessed to West Virginia.
Yeah, it was a chippy game, and Texas Tech really kind of in a desperation mood like K-State was a couple weeks ago against West Virginia, just on fire from the 3-point line. But West Virginia's got to check their 3-point defense at the door and make sure they run K-State off the line. So far, so good, and now you see Bob Huggins slapping a little quick pressure on K-State early.
Well, when K-State went up 24 in Manhattan, West Virginia went to a full court press and got them back in the game, even though K-State opened it back up and won by 16. That's Gordon, Deshaun Gordon banking it in, and he's fouled. And they get Shebue for his first.
Deshaun Gordon has really played well as of late. The little crossover splits the trap and then gets Shebue off balance. Not sure where the foul was there. He kind of was just backing up out of the play. But in any event, it was a heck of a good move by Gordon to finish in traffic.
Gordon completes the 3-point play. Kansas State had gone a couple of minutes between field goals. Now they put on some pressure, and Haley wanting to get it in, but uses a timeout. And Bob Huggins animated on that bench. So a quick timeout with 17:35 to play first half. We're back here in Morgantown, and wholesale changes on the floor for West Virginia. Bob Huggins just replaced all 5 starters for West Virginia.
I would say that's a message early that he didn't like the effort.
Loud and clear.
He didn't like when they went to attack that pressure. They had to use a timeout. They weren't ready for it. They didn't acknowledge it. Nobody moved. So he's like, okay, come over here and watch.
Good defense from Logan Routt, but a rebound there for Deshaun Gordon of K-State. 3 minutes into the game in Morgantown, K-State and West Virginia tied at 5. And down to 5 on the shot clock. Sloan a drive, a shot, and one.
Basket by Sloan.
He's already had an and one opportunity today.
Well, K-State early off the bounce. David Sloan and Deshaun Gordon just on the blow-by, right by West Virginia's guards, and the help comes way late.
Sherman, who had just checked in with the other 4 replacements for the starters, checks out. Sean McNeil is checked in for West Virginia. It's Sloan at the line. He's just a 55% foul shooter, but completes the 3-point play. He's been shooting the free throws much better in his last 6 games, though. Now 12 for his last 18 from the line.
I'll have to check the 1,000 games that I've ever been to or watched and see if I've ever had 11 players in the game before the first TV timeout. But West Virginia has that right now.
Incredible. A 6-0 run here for K-State, and Mayween fouled hard by Routt. Gordon and Sneed over to help him up. A hard foul, no flagrant foul called.
Well, they're going to look at it for sure. Watch Mayween, though. I think he travels before. He takes a little extra step there, and then the hard foul at the rim.
So Jerry Pollard going to take a look at the monitor to see if a flagrant 1 or 2 should be assessed. What did you see in real time, Tim?
Well, real time, first of all, I saw travel. Okay, and I don't know how there's 3 officials out there on the floor, what they're looking at. I mean, you have to look at the feet. You got to get ahead of the play, and you got to look at the feet first. So they should have called the travel. Then the foul, I think, is a hard foul. I think he's going to end up with a flagrant. Yes.
We'll take another look.
First the push in the back, and then the extra effort on the follow-through, I think, is going to get him the flagrant 1.
After review, been ruled a common foul.
Well, you're going to keep it a common foul on route. That surprised you a little bit?
Absolutely. It's a hard foul. It should be a flagrant foul. Now, these guys do have the benefit of going to see that they missed the travel too. Sometimes
it may come into play.
It absolutely does, and there's no doubt about it. So sometimes things even out. But it was a good effort by Route. Just by rule, I thought it was there was a little extra on top of it.
Mayween, who's been their best free throw shooter at 71%, actually 74%, hits 1 of 2.
And stuff like that sometimes will get you a little energy to your team. You know, with Bob playing 11 guys in the first 4 minutes, he's searching for that hop in their step right now, and maybe Route's foul will give that to him.
What you said definitely bears repeating. West Virginia's played 11 players so far. We're not to the first TV timeout. Mayween blocks the Culver shot, but on the other end is Osaboyan. Gabe Osaboyan, who's given them great defensive effort all season, is becoming more of an offensive threat, Tim.
Texas Tech, he had an outstanding game. He really made a lot of dirty work plays. He put his hard hat on, and that was just another example of what Osaboyan can give West Virginia. They need that off the bench.
Osaboyan had 15 points in the game at Texas Tech on Wednesday. Gordon tried to slice through 3 defenders, and Jared Culver would have none of that. Miles McBride. Mayween able to poke that away. Now we do come to a timeout. Bob Huggins has gone deep on that bench already. 7-0 run has helped K-State to lead it by 2 early in Morgantown. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Energy on the go. It is a sellout today at the WVU Coliseum. Kansas State leading 12th ranked West Virginia 9-7. Baylor plays in about 2 hours. Number 1 Baylor hosted TCU. They're on after us on ESPN2. West Virginia going to bounce back from the loss at Texas Tech on Wednesday. K-State got their 2nd conference win of the year, beating Oklahoma on Wednesday in Manhattan.
Well, got to see Baylor up close and personal this week for the first time, and they, Mark, are the real deal. They've got a great combination of the super guards and then just fierce interior defense. So,
yeah, there are still some doubters out there that we come across, and I keep saying they're legit. Believe in Baylor. They are for real, as you mentioned.
Kansas State foul called in
K-State foul.
I'll tell you one thing, Mark. I wouldn't want to be the referee when Vital and Gillespie go up against Culver and Shebue. Those 4 guys in the paint are all physical.
Baylor and West Virginia. A couple of big matchups there. McBride off the back rim. Culver deflected it, but Mayween scoops it up off the deck. And Cartier-Johnnet in the game now for K-State. Ball movement into the corner, and the 3 is short from Sloan. Here comes McNeil on the run. He has Harler with him. Now slows it back for McBride, who shoots a 3-point shot. It's off the mark.
Probably a little quick. McBride just missed one. Now comes down in transition. They've got to give the inside more of a look.
Sneed defended by Harler. It's a screen from Levi Stockard. Puts it up with 4 on the shot clock. Culver's skying for the rebound for West Virginia.
Both teams really getting down and dirty on the defensive end.
Over the top, Culver. They had the mismatch with Jada on him, and Jada commits the foul as well.
That's what I'm talking about, going inside. You've got to have a balance to your game. You can't just keep shooting those threes and missing them. And that time, they saw it. McBride does a nice job. He's got his head up, and Culver does a great job of sealing Jada on the backside and being strong at the rim.
Also checking back in Montavious Murphy.
That's a tough assignment for Cartier Jada, who's listed at 6'4", to try to handle the 6'10" Derek Culver down low.
1 shot.
Double zero. Mike McGurl's checked in for K-State. He's coming off an outstanding game against Oklahoma on Wednesday night.
Now, K-State's a little thin up front with their bench, with Antonio Gordon still serving the suspension from the fight at Kansas. So Bruce Weber's not afraid to go small, but you got to be careful against Sheboygan and Culver.
Today is the final game of the suspension for Antonio Gordon. He will be back on Monday when they take on Baylor. 1-point lead for the Mountaineers. Sneed down the right side of the lane, flips it around and out. Offensive rebound, Stockard. Murphy looking for somebody. And a high pass. Bad pass from Stockard. It's a turnover.
West Virginia, message delivered from the big fella over there on the sideline, because they are getting after it on defense right now, Mark. Every pass, every bounce challenged with hands and activity.
Second turnover for Bruce Weber's team. Girl defending McBride. Culver and Murphy. Culver trying to get around him. Reverses, too strong. Murphy holding his own there. Now called upon to bring it up.
Well, K-State doing a good job as well defensively. Always give tremendous help, and then Culver. That's kind of a silly reach-in.
Bob Huggins saying the same thing, that you're 60 feet away from the bucket. Why commit that foul?
Well, you want your big man, if he's going to foul, to give him up right at the rim, protecting, not at half court, as you said.
Stockard with the handoff to Jada. Slices in the lane and has it stripped away, taken by McNeil. McBride with a crossover. Jada fell down. The pass goes to McNeil. Harler wanting to drive on McGurl, who closed out well, and a pass intercepted by Sneed. Xavier Sneed takes it to the rim and lays it in.
Wow, we talked about West Virginia's defense. K-State rock solid on the ball. Help recover. Rotations on the backside. Hands up and awareness.
Lead goes back to the Wildcats by 1. That's almost stolen again. Harler's open. He elects to take the 3. Sheboygan offensive rebound. Wanting to go back up with it in a crowd, and he's fouled. Mike McGurl picks up his first personal.
Well, there's not much there for Sheboygan and Culver down low, but they're just plowing their way to the rim. They're just so hard to defend if they get that good position around the basket.
West Virginia off to a 3 for 12 start from the field. They've only hit 1 of 5 3-point attempts. A better start for K-State, 4 of 10 from the field. Sheboygan looks to break the 11-all tie at the 12.5-minute mark. Murphy looking. Shot clock slips under 10. Jada finds an open Murphy. Got it. He is not a great three-point shooter, just 24% on the year, and that's only his 8th made three of the season. Culver, jump stop, spinning, the lefty gets it to fall. The lefty's his strong hand, and he got it to go.
Good job of West Virginia. Better spacing, more opportunity in the middle of the lane that time on the post-up.
Hand off, Jota, 10 to shoot. Jota crashing into the lane, and that's an offensive foul as McNeil takes the charge.
Well, Mark, both teams getting after it defensively. You cannot be loose with the basketball. You better not throw weak passes, and finishing in traffic is difficult, but not for Snead. Tonight in that Kentucky-Auburn game, Austin Wiley and Nick Richards and Bruce Pearl had him fired up early this morning at Auburn.
So Cartier-Jota on the bench for K-State. He tied a career high with 25 points against West Virginia in their meeting 2 weeks ago. He has no points, no shot attempts in 4 minutes. And on the bench with 2 fouls as McNeil swishes one home to give West Virginia the 1-point edge.
McNeil's given Bob some really good minutes today on both ends, and he can certainly do that. Normally a standstill shooter, that time off the bounce.
Girl brings down the high pass, launches a 3. Skying for the rebound, Culver. McBride looking ahead for Shibwe. Passes for Harler, who launches. Too strong, and then Culver all over the back of McGurl, who then dribbled it off his leg and out of bounds. West Virginia ball.
Derek Culver in the neighborhood. Better secure that rebound. Don't be bouncing it around. Just put your mitts on it. But Culver was looming.
Right, can't shake Gordon. Culver, bullet pass, too hot for Harler to handle, and the 3rd West Virginia turnover.
Well, the best way to describe Derek Culver as a passer is he's willing. Sometimes he's not always able. He sometimes tries to throw the home run pass, but he's very unselfish.
There's 2 parts of that equation, you mean.
Yes, exactly.
Great to have you with us from Morgantown. 12th ranked West Virginia. The rematch with K-State 2 weeks ago. K-State really dominated, got up by as many as 24. That's going to be goaltending on Shibwe. Count the bucket.
This is what happened earlier in the game. West Virginia was allowing K-State to beat them off the bounce with that right-hand dribble and get all the way to the rim, and that's usually a problem because they're playing so tight on the perimeter. They're not going to help off the shooters, so you've got to guard your man better on the perimeter.
First bucket of the game for McGurl, who had 16 points against Oklahoma on Wednesday. McGurl missed the first meeting with West Virginia when he was out with concussion protocol. Midway through this first half in Morgantown, K-State with a 1-point lead. Culver spinning to the baseline. Nice move to hit the little baby hook.
It was just great recognition by Culver, too. K-State was sending the trap, the double team from the backside, and he just faked at the outside and just drop stepped with tremendous quickness and just a soft touch as well. Watch, Mark, you see the double coming from the other side, and they never really get into the double, and Mayween just kind of came from behind. He's got to cut that baseline off. He's going to leave his man on the backside.
Jerry Pollard on the left, Rick Crawford on the right, and I'm unclear as to what they're checking on the monitor. There must be something with a timing issue.
I think it is. Jerry Crawford pointed immediately at the clock.
That's Rick Crawford explaining to Bob Huggins. Crawford again pointing towards the clock. And Rick Crawford's going to come over and tell Tim Welsh.
Clock stop, lost 14 seconds. Shot, make
Apparently, not only did the clock stop, but according to Rick Crawford, 14 seconds needed to come off the clock. So the clock had stopped for a while before it was noticed, and they timed it out. So they.
Couple little issues at the table today.
Yeah.
Had the horn go off inadvertently in the middle of play, so hopefully we clean all that up.
Well, whenever you get two teams like this, it's going to be a little mucked up, a little crazy.
It's feisty. You can just feel the feistiness over here. Better not be weak in this game today.
Look, girls shorts. Gordon saving it and fired it off McNeil. And another example of what we were just talking about.
Well, K-State has played much better basketball as of late. And
I don't know if we need to see that one again. I understand fully why McNeil is shaken up, and then McBride was slow getting up as well.
it was just great hustle by all the guys.
It's just
chasing down that loose ball. Again, don't be weak. Don't bring your weak stuff here today.
No. When teams play this hard, Tim, sometimes it's going to be a little ugly. Down to 7 on the shot clock. Sloan with the drive. Floated it all the way over the rim to Culver. Bullet pass, and that goes off Sheboy's hands, but there's McNeil in the right spot on the offside. Culver tries a bounce pass, and Haley foul going up. We got Derek Culver giving us varieties of all types of passes on that possession.
We got a little Magic Johnson, and we got a little Derek Culver. But sometimes, you know, there's not a lot of room in there. With he and Sheboy in there together, and the way K-State plays defense, that guy playing the high post player is just laying off Sheboy, and he's right in the paint, so there's not a lot of room to post up and make a move or to make another pass. But Culver somehow thread the needle to Haley.
Well, you saw Mayween talking with official Rick Crawford about the foul. That's the second on Mayween, so he's coming out. Obviously not happy with the foul call. Sneed's going to check back in along with Stockard for K-State.
And it's a hard thing to do to play Sheboy and Culver together, but you have to. You can't sit one of them, that's for sure. They're too good on the defensive end and rebounding and everything else they bring, and they're two of the best players on West Virginia. But the other part of that is that the offense sometimes doesn't look as smooth as it might because they're both in there, and sometimes they get in each other's way.
See, number 2, Brandon Napper in the game for West Virginia. He missed the Wednesday game at Tech with flu-like symptoms, and for that same reason only played 1 minute of the SEC Big 12 Challenge game against Mizzou. He's feeling better and playing again today. Bounce pass down low, and Stockard has to pick it up, and then it's tied up. And the possession arrow will keep it with K-State.
Jump ball. Possession arrow to Kansas State.
.11 on the shot clock. Haley commits the blocking foul.
Jermaine Haley called for the
Well, the scouting report will tell you, I'm sure West Virginia put it up on the board and they discussed this morning. K-State was 9 for 18 in Manhattan from the 3, so you've got to run their shooters off the line. That time on the closeout, Haley just a little too tight with the body.
Both teams now at 16 fouls in the half. K-State shot 59% from the field in that game against West Virginia. And as Tim mentioned, 50% from beyond the arc.
It's amazing sometimes how one game can turn your mindset around. And went to the shoot around that morning in Manhattan, and it was like a morgue. It was 8 o'clock in the morning, and K-State was wondering if they were going to win a league game, and playing against the mighty West Virginia coming in. But everything started to click that day, and they're starting to get it. They look a lot better.
3 from Gordon in the corner is long. Sheboy rebound. Pass, Culver going for the slam.
Jermaine Haley said, here you go, Derek Culver. You gave me the nice feed. I'm going to give you one, big fella. Rim run, and I'll present it to you right where you can flush it.
Gordon has to save it, and he throws that off McBride. Something Deshaun Gordon has been very effective at doing twice now already today.
Well, Derek Culver, we know he can power up around the rim. He can pass it a little bit, and he can also run for a big fella and finish easily.
ESPN, their first meeting since they met at the Sprint Center in Kansas City in the Elite Eight, which Auburn won in overtime to go to the Final Four.
Well, Bruce Pearl has done an unbelievable job with Auburn. Everyone said it's basically it's football school. They don't really care about basketball there, but he's got them thinking differently. And again, he's got an outstanding team.
Shot clock's down to 2, down to 1, and the shot clock expires as it went out of bounds. West Virginia ball.
That's one of those ones where both coaches are mad. As you see, there's a car crash, but the police looked the other way. We got a shot clock violation.
There were no tickets assessed.
No tickets. That's all right.
There you see the shooting pretty similar. 6 for 16 for K-State. 3-point shooting about the same, but it's a 4-point lead for West Virginia, which is their largest lead of the game. K-State had an early 4-point lead of their own.
K-State in a little bit of a matchup zone here to change things up in the rhythm.
Napper blocked by Murphy. Out of bounds, staying with West Virginia with only 1 on the shot clock.
That's a good job by K-State. West Virginia kind of stood around and looked at that zone and very late to attack.
Got it off in time, does not hit rim, so it is a shot clock violation for West Virginia.
Well, Bruce Weber will do that, and he is a 95% rock solid, one of the best man-to-man defensive coaches around. But I like that he does that on occasion, just to change the look and get you to stand maybe a little bit. And they're very active in the zone when they do play it.
Sloan gets it across with about a 1.5 seconds to spare. Sneed, a catch and shoot open 3. Run down by Gordon in the corner, but it went off. Ooh, thought it went off Gordon.
So did Bob.
That's James Breeding, the official, right there looking at it. Says it's going to stay with K-State.
You know, Rick Crawford was right there too, and if he needed help, he would have asked. But it's nothing.
Well, they just showed a replay on the in-house TV, and that's the reaction you got from the crowd. Sloan out for Sneed, elects to shoot it. Tipped around into the hands of Derek Culver.
Every shot, every pass on both ends contested hard.
Shibwe. Run down by Sloan. He wants to take it to the rim. Reversing, it bounces off. And then a foul on K-State as McBride was running out. Well, let's go back just a little bit.
Well, thank goodness we can't go to replay this early, but if it did, look at Nick Gordon just on the way out.
Ooh, I don't know. That looked, I don't know if he kicked it with that left foot or not at the end. So now that we're all thoroughly confused on that.
At the free throw line.
Well, Kansas State has gone over 4 minutes without scoring here. And McBride is at the line for West Virginia for a 1-and-1 after the 17th foul against the Wildcats. A lot of good young guards in this conference, Tim, and it's easy to overlook Miles McBride, who technically isn't even a starter for this team, even though he plays starter minutes. He is one of the outstanding up-and-coming guards in this conference.
Well, he has that ability to go get 25 on a certain night, and we really wait for him to break out and start making shots from the perimeter. And once he does that, I mean, he's 40% from 3, just doesn't take a lot of them, but he is very good in transition. He plays with his head up, and he's starting to learn how to defend better as well.
The freshman from Cincinnati takes a seat after the free throws. A 7-0 run for the Mountaineers. They have their largest lead of 6 points. And McGurl, well, actually that's the moving screen on Sneed, who's looking around like, who, me?
On the handoff, there was movement on that, setting the screen. Looked like a good call by James Greedy.
First on Sneed. Haley doubled, swung around for a 3 from Napper.
That's just good decision making there. First with Haley, taking it down to the baseline, drawing that second defender, and then the quick pass off the Boyan on perimeter. On point, delivery, perfect. Catch and shoot for Napper.
So a 10-0 run for West Virginia, and Bruce Weber uses a timeout with 5:25 to play in the first half. Coming up, you can call it tonight or tomorrow morning, 3:30 a.m. Eastern, 12:30 a.m. Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app. The Australian Open Men's Championship match. Number 5, Dominic Thiem. Number 2, Novak Djokovic. Thiem looking for his first major. The defending champ, Djokovic, won it a record 7 times, looking for his 17th Grand Slam title. Get up early, 3:30 a.m. Eastern time. Bob Huggins Mountaineers, 10-0 run here.
Oh, Bob Huggins has to be happy right now with the effort. We talked about it earlier. He played 11 players in the first 3 minutes and change. Just looking for that right combination. More importantly, looking for that effort and that energy on this end, and he's found it.
See the K-State scoreless down near in 6 minutes as Sloan commits a foul. Taking Culver to the ground. K-State's missed the last 6 from the field, and Sloan picking up his first.
Well, again, the pressure on the outside and a little soft trap, and K-State not strong with the basketball, and right now they can't get anything clean going to the rim.
19th foul against K-State, a 1-and-1 here for Derek Culver. He's 1 of 1 from the line today with 9 points. K-State trying to end the drought. Stockard sets the screen. McGurl with the left hand scores. Nice drive by Mike McGurl.
Finally the seas parted. There's been nothing available, but McGurl just squeezed one home.
Tad Sherman passes up the shot. Napper gets in the lane and he is fouled.
I think West Virginia did a pretty good job there running a 5-out offense, and with Culver as the 5-man, and they were doing a good job pushing it around the perimeter. That time Napper just put his head down though with nowhere to go.
Well, the charge and the foul on Napper. K-State trying to make it points on back-to-back possessions. It's been a while since they've done that. Sneed, just as he was turning to take that to the rim, Osaboyan tried to strip it, but is called for the foul.
Well, that's what K-State needs. They need better player movement. They're trying to move the ball off the bounce, and there's just nothing available. If they get more movement away from the basketball, things will open up at the rim better than they have.
18th foul against the Mountaineers. 1-and-1 for Sneed. Right near a 70% free throw shooter this year. And at the line for the first time today. Snead has gone over 1,300 career points today. Came in at 1299. 14th all-time in school history in scoring. 1 of 2 from the line.
Well, we've complimented West Virginia's defense, but K-State in their own right has been rock solid as well. K-State back in the zone.
Oseboy trying to find the soft spot in that zone. Sherman takes a 2 and scores it.
Bob Huggins talked about Dash Sherman this morning. He said he's starting to get it and come on for us, and we need his spark offensively off the bench.
He had 11 points off the bench Wednesday night at Texas Tech. Blocking on foul on Oseboy and timeout. 3:31 to play in the first half here in Morgantown. Now West Virginia has the 27-19 lead over K-State.
Baroni rolls out there.
Weber's team had an early 4-point lead, but right now they are down by 8. Xavier Snead going to the line. K-State has 3 players with 2 fouls now. Mayween, Murphy, and Jada all with 2 fouls, and the front end is missed by Snead.
K-State hanging in with their tough defense, but gotta start converting some of these free throws.
Going out of bounds. Napper was trying to get it to the baseline where Jermaine Haley was stationed.
There's just nothing there, though. You got to be patient against this defense. You can't just try to score on the first or second pass. K-State's defense is too tough.
Sloan trying the lob to Stockard, who comes back down with it, goes up and scores.
Nice job by Levi Stockard. Just took his time. He had big guy Oscar on his backside, but he just waited, and floated over the top.
Makes it a 2-possession game. Here is Haley looking for Shibwe, and Snead steps in the way of that and gets his second steal of the half.
Nice job by K-State, trapping Haley down in the box.
Well, he had Oseboy, and I should say Shibwe defending him, shot over him, but missed the 3, and now a timeout from Gordon in the corner, who was getting trapped.
Timeout called by Kansas State.
K-State uses their second timeout.
I don't like that play at all. You don't burn a timeout in the deep corner. You find a way to get the ball to one of your teammates or throw it off somebody's leg, but those timeouts are too valuable down the stretch to burn one right now.
West Virginia with the 6-point lead. Well, Joe Lenardi busy this time of year. His bracketology coming out new every day. He has Kansas and Baylor as 1 seeds, with Baylor the number 1 overall seed. Kansas is the number 2 overall seed. West Virginia had been one of the last 2 seeds for a while. They've dropped to the top 3 seed now as of today for Joe Lenardi. You got Texas Tech and Oklahoma, so right now he has 5 teams making the NCAA tournament out of the Big 12.
Excuse me, Mark. I think West Virginia could maybe make a move today in Joe's brackets. I don't want to get into his world, but with Seton Hall losing, they were a 2 seed, I believe, but they lost at home today to Xavier.
Well, these teams met 2 weeks ago in Manhattan. There were 82 points combined in the first half of that game 2 weeks ago. We're not going to come close to that in this first half. Sloan with the drive, kisses that in. I'm impressed with the driving of David Sloan today.
He's been very good. He's also taken his time. He's waited for that opportunity, and West Virginia a little slow on rotating on the backside. They've got to stop the ball before it gets so deep to the rim.
Culver, tough fadeaway with the right hand. Rebound yanked down by McGurl. 7-2 run for K-State. Snead trying to advance that, but he's fouled on the floor by Haley.
For the first goal, his second.
Number 2 on Haley.
K-State coming out in transition again. They had the numbers coming up the floor, and again it was Sloan making the play to Snead.
Snead at the line, 2 shots.
Double bonus, 2 shots here for Xavier Snead. Just 1 of 3 from the line today. Under 2 minutes to play, first half. In what, Tim, looks like it's going to be 40 minutes or maybe more of a grinded out game.
It is. I think Bruce Weber right now is going to slap a little press on West Virginia as he did earlier in the half and see if West Virginia reacts.
Snead gets both to go. He makes this a 2-point game, so it's a 9-2 run for the Wildcats. Matthews had the first bucket of the game for West Virginia, 3. He's been quiet since, and that changes right there.
Now there's Culver willing and able to make that delivery down low.
Stockard traveled.
Well, West Virginia doing a nice job on the offensive end. Their wings, both Haley and Matthews, 6'7" each. They're a problem down low for the smaller K-State wings. You see K-State's basically playing 3 or 4 guards, if you want to call Snead a guard, and Bruce Weber sees that and he's going zone.
Quick shot, a 3 from Sherman off the mark. Sloan wants to run past McCabe down the middle of the floor, giving it up for Stockard in a crowd. He scores with the left hand.
David Sloan again pushing it with his head up, under control with the perfect pass.
Under a minute to play in the half.
K-State in this zone because of the size problem, and they're going to make West Virginia shoot it or turn it over.
Aishwan Gordon steals it. About an 8-second difference, shot clock to game clock. K-State wants to eat up as much of this clock as they can. Sloan trying to get past Culver, reverses, spins off. Opportunity, plenty of time for a final shot for West Virginia, but Matthews couldn't get that circus shot to fall after the contact, and he'll shoot 2 with 7 seconds left.
That was a pretty good drive to the rim, but West Virginia getting out in transition. They haven't done much of that today, but that time Matthews can really run.
For the Mountaineers, Emmett Matthews, 2 shots.
First free throws today for Matthews. Harler coming in along with McBride. They want to make sure Haley doesn't pick up his 3rd foul here late. McCabe also goes out. K-State may have an opportunity for a final shot here.
Well, you know they're going to push it, and their guards have done a good job in the last 3 or 4 minutes of dribble penetrating and getting all the way to the rim.
1 and 2, 3-point game. Just under 7 seconds to play. And pressure. McGurl races it into the front court. Down to 3, down to 2. Short with the 3. McBride the rebound. And it's West Virginia with the 3-point lead at the intermission. And a nice half for Culver. 9 points, 7 rebounds for Derek Culver of West Virginia to lead the way for the Mountaineers. Let's join Allison Williams, King McClure. They're in the studio for the E-Trade halftime report. To honor his longtime friend Chuck Mayshak, who passed away at age 82 earlier in January. He played at Cincinnati, was an Athletics Hall of Famer there, was a longtime radio announcer for them, and also was an assistant under Bob Huggins from 1989 to 1992. Longtime friends. They had his celebration of life last night. Chuck there on the left with Dan Hort, his radio partner, and Bob Huggins spoke, and there were tears. There was laughing, a lot of that provided by Bob Huggins, speaking about one of his great friends who passed away, Chuck Mayshak. And Bob Huggins made several statements about Chuck while at the celebration of life. Here are some of them how much he loved Chuck, including that other than his wife and children, nobody he's ever loved more than Chuck Mashock, who was one of his assistants at Cincinnati and a Cincinnati Athletics Hall of Famer.
That just shows you what a great guy Bob is as well, on top of Chuck, and did get to know him over the years alongside his radio partner, the great Dan Hord. And Bob makes a trip over to Cincinnati the night before a big game, and that just shows you what a great friend he is.
West Virginia ball to begin the second half. And what's been a very physical, tightly contested first 20 minutes here in Morgantown. Sheboy looking. Culver's hurt and asks for a timeout, and he runs towards the bench. He asked for a stoppage in play. Looked like he was holding his hand or his wrist, and is immediately going back to the locker room.
Didn't see what happened. He just kind of flashed up to the basketball and keeled to his side, and the ball jammed his finger.
We'll take a look back and see if we see anything, but back to the live action. 3 to shoot. Matthews puts it up well off the right side. Didn't hit the rim, I didn't think, but it did reset the shot clock. Did you think it hit the rim?
Unless it hit the back side of it, it just ticked it if it did.
The Mountaineers got the benefit of that. Another opportunity. Blocked away by Murphy. Mayween. Sheboy almost tied him up. And here comes K-State with their first possession of the half.
West Virginia needs to space out better. They're never going to get much opportunity. They were just too tight. They had 3 guys in the lane.
Sloan didn't turn it over in the first half. In fact, he hasn't turned it over in 3 games. Didn't turn it over at Alabama. Didn't turn it over against Oklahoma. Fires it down low, and Murphy. That's going against Kansas State. Well, let's go back. The opening moments of the second half. Watch Culver, he and Murphy, and then you see Culver clutch his right elbow. Then as he took the pass.
He and Murphy collided down in the box. It was before he caught the pass.
Culver has gone back to the locker room for West Virginia. Bullet pass bounces off Sheboy to Asaboyan, and then Haley trying to save it, can't. Stepped out of bounds first before flipping it over his head. And now there's Culver coming back to the scores table. So whatever it was, apparently it wasn't serious enough, even though he's still shaking that right hand and right arm a little bit. He's right back in the game.
Okay, let's start over. Because this has been ugly. Come out of the locker room. Both teams can't find their way on offense.
And not had any scoring the first minute and a half of this second half.
And most of it, Mark, though, has been caused by really frenetic, in-your-face defense.
Gordon flips it up after Matthews fell to the court, and it's out, staying with K-State and 11 to shoot.
Now, Deshaun Gordon, if he's going in there against Oscar Sheboy and Derek Culver, he better
buckle up.
Buckle up and go a lot stronger to the rim.
Catch and shoot 3. Sneed foul going up. That's going to be number 3 on Haley. You got the elbow of Sneed.
A little rub screen in the corner, and Haley was late to the party.
That's going to put Haley to the bench, and Chase Harlan's going to check in after this first free throw from Xavier Sneed.
Chase Harlan checks into the Mountaineers.
That was a good screen by McCall Mayween out on that out of bounds play. It's just Haley wasn't ready to defend as the ball was inbounded.
Jota is going to come in for Sloan for K-State. Jota picked up 2 fouls in the first half and only played 4 minutes after he had a career-high 25 points against West Virginia 2 weeks ago in Manhattan. Sneed hits both and makes this a 1-point game.
Again, a little quick pressure, extension of the defense. See if West Virginia spaces out a little bit better on offense.
McCabe trying to bounce it down low to Shebue. That's out going to K-State. We have had a lot of passes really on both sides today, Tim, that have been aggressive and maybe a bit ill-advised.
Well, K-State's trying to wrap around on the post, and West Virginia's doing a good job just trying to duck it in down there, but it's hard to do that right away against K-State's defense. You've got to move the defense a little bit on the backside first.
K-State had an early 4-point lead in this game, but have not led since it was 16-15 about midway through the first half. Jota trying to give them the lead. Mayween, the offensive rebound. The freshman from Chicago, Gordon, down the lane, tried to flip it off the glass, too strong.
Well, Gordon's getting in there, but nothing's happening. He's just throwing the ball up on the rim. He's not shooting it.
Jota, deflection, steals. Gordon in transition, trying to drive, got tied up by McCabe and goes tumbling into the cameraman.
Good job by McCabe helping him up. But just too loose with the ball. And K-State's got those active hands, and they're going to run to the rim off a turnover.
At the line for Kansas State.
Well, it's Gordon shooting two.
2 shots.
Coming up tonight, our NBA Saturday primetime matchup, a Big Eastern Conference battle. Joel Embiid and the Sixers taking on Kemba Walker and the Celtics. Coverage begins with the jump at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. You can also watch that on the ESPN app. Missed them both, and West Virginia maintains a 1-point lead. Three minutes gone here in the second half. The only scoring so far, 2 free throws for K-State. Shebue fouled on the deck by Murphy.
Kansas State foul on number 23, Montavious Murphy, his third.
Well, I don't know about you, Mark, but I listen to a lot of the experts all week talking about the Super Bowl, and they think that it could be a higher scoring game that we have today.
Yeah, it's probably going to be in the 30s on both sides, Chiefs and Niners.
I don't know if we're going to get to 50 today at this pace.
I asked Bob Huggins at the shoot-around today if he's going to carve out some time to watch the Super Bowl. He said, yeah, I probably will. And then he relayed an interesting story of how he recruited while here at West Virginia. Had some connections with a few of the Chiefs. Here's a catch and shoot, in and out, missed by McBride. And Travis Kelce was a quarterback and basketball player out of Ohio. And Travis Kelce was recruited by Bob Huggins to come be possibly a two-sport athlete at West Virginia. And Hugg said at the time, Rich Rodriguez was the football coach here. Rich Rod said, nah, if he comes here, I don't want him to play 2 sports. So he wound up going to Cincinnati, University of Cincinnati. But
well, I will tell you this, knowing Bob Huggins as well as I do over many, many years and coached against him, that his viewing of the Super Bowl will be determined absolutely by the outcome of this game.
Yes, his demeanor will be for sure.
I don't think he'll have his feet up watching the Super Bowl unless things are on the right side for him.
Well, right now, K-State can't hit a free throw. They've missed their last 4 from the line. Still a 1-point lead for West Virginia. Harler's 3. There's the first points of the half for the Mountaineers.
That's the first clean look in a long time for West Virginia. That time Harler just took his time and teed up on McGurl. For some reason McGurl backed up and didn't contest.
Snead catches, shoots short with the 3. Culver off his body, but scooped up by Shebue, an outlet for McCabe. Culver spinning.
Oh, that's nice. That's old school, back to the basket, drop step, over the top. West Virginia in a little semi-flow.
A quick 5 points for West Virginia. They're up 6. Back to Jada, 5 to shoot. Jada trying to get by McCabe. The drive and the bucket for Cartier Jada.
McCabe was just way too tight out on the perimeter. He's got to back up a little bit. No, he's got to understand the shot clock as well. Force him to his left where the help was.
First field goal of the half for K-State. You get it back to a 4-point game. Shibwe bumped it, fouled by McGurl. Timeout.
Both teams offensively challenged, but West Virginia getting a little bit of a flow here. The big fella over the top, soft and strong.
Welcome back to Saturday Showcase, presented by 5 Hour Energy from West Virginia University Coliseum in Morgantown. 4-point lead for the 12th ranked Mountaineers. Here's a look at our Wendy's Wooden Watch. 3 Big 12 players on that, including a couple of Jayhawks, Azubuike and Dotson, and Tyrese Halliburton for Iowa State.
It was a good job, Mark, on that last possession for West Virginia, running the pick and roll, and they're trying to go to it pretty much on every possession. They're trying to space the floor a little bit, and then on ball reversal, trying to run that middle pick and roll. And Oscar Shibwe is doing a nice job with his footwork and the catch at the rim.
Shibwe from the line today, very good, 5 of 6. Pressure put on by the Mountaineers. Gonna have to get it across quickly. They got it off. Got it across just in time ahead of the 10-second call.
Good job by K-State making something out of nothing. It looked like they were in deep trouble.
Jada's got Asaboyan and McBride right on him and puts up a 3 with the shot clock expiring. Offensive rebound, Gordon. Back up in traffic, blocked by McBride, but fouled. It's Deshaun Gordon.
Well, that's why you have to just somehow get it up on the rim, and nobody put a body on Gordon. West Virginia was watching the ball instead of getting in position. Gordon, great second effort.
Fouls on Shibwe, his second. Only one Mountaineer with 3 fouls. That's Haley, who's on the bench. K-State has 3, actually 2 with 3 fouls. Murphy and McGurl each have 3. Gordon's free throws pull it to a 4-point game. K-State with the pressure in the backcourt.
Deshaun Gordon doing a nice job on both ends. Really active and playing a lot more confidence. And I really like him as a freshman.
From the city of Chicago, Gordon. That's a long 3. It hits the back rim by Sherman. Rebound by Harlan.
K-State back in their matchup zone.
Shibwe calling for the ball. The ball's in the corner, though, with Taz Sherman, who had it hit by Snead. He gets it back and an opening to shoot and knocks it down.
That's what you call, my friend Mark Neely, offense by accident. But Sherman, great open shooter.
4th made 3 for West Virginia. You notice K-State has only 1 made 3. Out of 11 tries, they were 9 of 18 in three-point shooting in the first meeting with the Mountaineers 2 weeks ago. Jada lost it. Stockard asked for a timeout, but before he can get that, it's tied up. Possession arrow will keep it with K-State. And really, that worked out well for Stockard not to have to use the timeout.
Bob Huggins talked about Taz Sherman this morning to us, that he's really starting to come on with a lot of confidence. Kind of got jammed up in there and got lucky off the deflection, but very aware and ready to lock and load.
Hit a couple of 3s on Wednesday in Lubbock. Had a season-high 11 points off the bench for West Virginia to Taz Sherman. Only 7 on the shot clock, though, after the possession arrow came into play. And Jana, the lefty, fires it up. Did not hit the rim. And shot clock would have expired had Culver not rebounded for West Virginia. Sherman, is he feeling it? Came up short. A little too early for a heat check for Taz Sherman.
Well, it was, and he was covered. That was the problem. K-State was right up on him.
And Jana nearly lost it. Gordon will use the dribble. Mayween doubled. He's in trouble. Faces up on Culver, and it finally shoots and scores.
Basket by Mayween.
Both coaches screaming. Bruce wanted a timeout. Bob was barking at the refs, and away we go. The players are trying to call timeout on the loose balls.
Osaboyan picked up the foul, his third.
Team foul number 5.
15 foul against West Virginia in the half.
Now Bruce Weber was giving the T sign, which I would take as a timeout. I'm not sure why he would want a timeout now. He only has 2 left.
I saw the same thing. And did he see something he thought there should have been a technical foul on? I didn't see anything.
No, I think he did, but then he remembered that they burned one in the first half on a loose ball and said, wait a minute, we're not going to go down to 1 timeout with 12 minutes to go.
Lob! Sneed can't connect with Jada. McNeil sees an opening to drive to the lane. Underneath, nicely fed to Culver. Now Bruce Weber will use a timeout, and we'll have only 1 left. McNeil feeding Culver. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. Got a little bit of light snow earlier this morning in Morgantown. Not much stuck on the grass, though. It's a 7-point lead for West Virginia. And Tim Walsh, you know who was ice cold? It was Sean McNeil on this feed.
Sean McNeil doing a great job. Usually just a kind of a catch and shoot guy, but developing a little bit more of a game. Head up, head up, head up. Draws the defender, and of course Culver catches everything at the rim.
Just over 12 minutes to play. A rematch from a game 2 weeks ago in Manhattan that was won by K-State by 16. For Kansas State's first conference win of the season. They were 0-4 at that point in conference play.
Their defense is very, very good. Just need to get a better flow offensively, but right now West Virginia's starting to get into a good flow on offense and running in transition as well.
Mayween matched up with Culver. Osaboyan helping out. And a double again. Sloan's in the corner. 2 on the shot clock. He's trapped and just kind of flips it towards the rim. And the shot clock expires. That takes us to another timeout. Defense on both sides stout throughout much of this game. West Virginia up by 7. Derek Culver right now 1 rebound away from a double-double with 13 points, 9 rebounds. And West Virginia with the ball and a 7-point lead. Still over 11 minutes to play. That was deflected by Gordon, so it remains with the Mountaineers. West Virginia has turned it over 12 times today. K-State's turned it over 11, indicative of the kind of defensive pressure we've seen in the half court all day.
Well, K-State really gets up underneath you, and West Virginia's doing a better job in the last 3 or 4 minutes of spacing and attacking and looking for the open man on reversal.
McBride, shot clock late, down to 2.
That's right. Miles McBride is going to be a special player at West Virginia. He just took his time, really reversed the ball by the dribble, and then on the step back create just enough space for the floater.
Pressuring Murphy in the backcourt. McBride and Osaboyan. Let's see who they give it to on Osaboyan. And that's his 4th.
Well, a little soft pressure, and
he invaded the silo, so to speak, right?
He did. He bumped the dribbler, and that's part of the
freedom of movement.
Freedom of movement over the last few years. You can't do it.
So 4 for Orsaboyan, and he's going to come out. First player on either side to 4. Sheboy takes his spot.
Especially can't do it when Rick Crawford standing right there.
9-point lead for the Mountaineers. It equals their largest of the game. Sneed did not draw a rim on that three-point attempt.
They're having a problem trying to get Sneed open on that little rub screen on the baseline. West Virginia doing a great job of blocking and trailing and not getting caught up in the screen and getting right up on him when he shoots.
Culver caught that for his 10th rebound, so it's his 5th double-double of the season. Driving to the rim, he's fouled and then stumbled a bit on the camera folks on the baseline, but kept his feet.
That's great footwork from the big fella, Derek Culver. Just the lefty on the rip through, going hard with the right hand.
Murphy just picked up his 4th, so that's why Stockard's at the scorer's table to check in for the Wildcats. Lots more great hoops today on ESPN and the app. You got number 13 Kentucky taking on 17th ranked Auburn at 6 Eastern in the Sonic Blockbuster. And then number 9 Duke squaring off against Syracuse at the Carrier Dome. Lots more hoops to come. Got TCU and number 1 Baylor from Waco when we're finished here on ESPN2.
Syracuse really playing a lot better as of late. As they've won 5 in a row before they lost a 1-pointer to Clemson, and got 30,000 people tonight up at the Carrier Dome.
Midway through the second half, K-State trying to cut into a 9-point lead, and then the moving screen by Mayween.
There's the sixth foul on the number 14 on Mayween. His 3rd.
And that's number 3 on Mayween.
That's a good call. I mean, Mayween's got to just establish himself. He runs into Sean McNeil instead of just stopping before he screens.
McBride behind the back to Harler. His 3 is off the right rim. Sheboy rebounds on the floor once. Fighting through, and one! Big Oscar.
Well, you know you've got 2 special rebounders when they basically almost on every shot fight each other for the rebound. And that time, Oscar Sheboy won the battle against Derek Culver. He took it right out of Culver's outstretched mitts and buried his way to the rim.
Big Oscar. Every time I call him Big O, though, I feel like I need to pay Oscar Robertson like some kind of royalty, because it has to belong to him. I think folks in Cincinnati will agree with me.
You know you can rebound out of your area if you just go right up above everybody, and it doesn't matter if you're blocked out or not, you're going to come up with it.
7-0 run for the Mountaineers, a double-digit lead now, and Sneed throws it off Sheboy and skips 4 or 5 rows deep into the crowd.
K-State's getting themselves in a jam on the offensive end. They're just kind of dribbling into that corner, and they're not using their ball movement like they were at times in the first half to get back into this game.
Sloan trying to get past McNeil behind the back, has it blocked by McNeil. Sloan getting it back and backs it up with 10 to shoot. Stockard gave Mayween a look. Now John is just going to have to put it up. And it bounces over the backboard. And then a collision there. Harler. And that was Sneed who collided with him. They both went hard to the ground.
Well, again, K-State struggling to get anything going, and a little desperation at the end of the clock.
Well, the crowd just saw a replay of what happened underneath the basket, and now Jerry Pollard's going to go to the monitor. And that has got this crowd riled up. They think they saw something from Xavier Sneed that was inappropriate.
There's James Breeding is talking to everybody over on the West Virginia bench. You've got Jerry Pollard looking at the replay alone over there.
So they're reviewing the play underneath the basket. So let's take a look ourselves and see what we see.
There's 3 officials. We've got Rick Crawford just standing over here, and then you got James Breeding, who's supposed to be looking at the replay, talking to the West Virginia coaches. I think they all need to work together a little bit.
Well, there was a lot going on there, but I don't think Sneed did anything malicious. He kind of came down and his arm did kind of come by the neck. But
to me, it looked like they got tangled. You know, we want to go to the hook and hold review. It's a possibility, but here they just kind of get tangled up, and then Sneed, I think he's just trying to catch his balance.
Yes.
And it looks worse than it is. He's got his hands right around the neck of Harlan. And then when he realizes, I think, that he did that, he released.
But he had him momentarily in a headlock, but as you said, Tim, I think he thought he just needed to gain his balance while falling to the ground and realized, hey, I've got him in a headlock, and he released. Rick Crawford has come over here to the table to fill in my partner, Tim Welsh, on what they have decided after taking a look at the replay. See if there would be any kind of flagrant foul called on either side, and what's the verdict?
Well, you know, I think they got it right, and they called a personal. They went to the monitor. They got a personal foul on Chase Harler for undercutting Xavier Sneed. Okay, you see, that's Harler driving him out. They got him on a common foul there, so it'll be 1-1 for K-State. Then the continuation of the play with Xavier Sneed with the extracurricular activity with his hands around his neck. He gets called for a flagrant, and then West Virginia is going to shoot the 2. So we've got a 1-on-1 and then 2 down the other end. And you really can't argue with that.
No, but I can see if you're Xavier Sneed, why you happen to at least momentarily wind up having Harler in a headlock. And for me, the fact that Sneed released the headlock does say something about it.
Exactly, and that was my feeling as well. But look at the fight is still in the back of everyone's mind, and these officials have to make sure this doesn't escalate, because this game has been very physical. It has not been dirty. It has not been dirty. It's good, hard-nosed, in-your-face defense. But and here we've got another explanation.
It's not a flagrant pressure because the foul on Team Blue happened first. It's a dead ball contact technical foul on Sneed on anyone on West Virginia.
All right, they're allowed to use McNeil because they're calling it a dead ball technical foul on Sneed, which allows West Virginia to pick the free throw shooter, which is why McNeil is shooting and not Harler.
But again, getting back to the point before James Breeding came over to further explain the situation, you know, the fight from Kansas State and Kansas still looms large in the memory of these officials, and I'm sure they've been told, don't let things get out of hand. It wasn't the officials' fault clearly that night, but you don't want anything to escalate. And we've already had a lot of bodies to the floor, a lot of contact at the rim. So,
well, I think your point, Tim, is a great one, because there's no question. If say the fight between KU and K-State did not happen, we might not have seen any that play determined and judiciated that way.
Exactly. I think, and these 3 officials are doing a good job today. This is not an easy job this afternoon, refereeing 2 teams so physical defensively. Every pass, every dribble contested, and clearly every shot. There's 4 bodies at the rim.
K-State, about 8.5 minutes to go. Down 14. They need to get some offense going to have a chance to come back, and maybe they're going to get it from David Sloan.
Well, good job by Sloan. West Virginia's kind of just jogged back on defense, and they got to slow Sloan down because he wants to do one thing, get all the way to the rim.
Sloan making his 5th consecutive start for K-State. You can certainly see why he was inserted into the lineup. Probably wanted a little push on Sneed there, and then when he got towards the sideline, they get a timeout. for West Virginia. So we have 8:06 to play. Things have been heated really all day here from the get-go, but West Virginia has the 12-point lead. Still over 8 minutes to play in Morgantown. West Virginia up a dozen. And Tim, in a game where the numbers really haven't stood out, there is one. It's the 5th double-double of the year for Derek Culver with 13 points, 10 rebounds.
Well, he's done it in a lot of different ways. He's posted up around the block. He's been a willing and able passer at times, and he's really tremendous in transition, running to the rim. He's got the soft hands and the quick touch over the top. Culver has been really the shining star today in a lot of different ways.
And I'll expand his numbers, even with those sometimes risky passes. He only has 1 turnover today. Does have an assist and 1 steal. Dribbled off the foot of McBride. Picked up by Sloan.
Just nowhere to go. Better move the ball quickly against this K-State defense. They just smother you off the bounce.
Sloan does have 1 turnover in this second half, but it's his first turnover in 3 games for K-State. Jada tried to kiss it in, going up. Culver. And May Wayne picked up the foul. It's going to be his 4th. He's the 2nd Wildcat to 4 fouls, joining Montavious Murphy.
Well, again, if you don't get in front of Derek Culver, you better just run back on defense, because you're not going to strip the ball from that guy.
Checking in for Kansas State.
1-1 here for Culver.
Deshaun Horton.
In and out on a K-State rebound. Got Snead out ahead of the field, and he's going to able to cherry pick and slam one home.
That's just unacceptable. Bob's really disgusted over there on a missed free throw, not getting back on defense.
And makes it a 10-point game. West Virginia's largest lead, it's been 14. Open is McNeil. Tipped by Culver, but he went. We're going to call that on K-State. I think Snead's looking like, hey, it was Culver who was over my back.
I think what Snead did, though, is James Green said he drove Culver back, and that's what he's giving him that motion. I mean, you can block somebody out, but you can't drive him off the spot, and that's what Snead's doing. See with his hip. Good call.
Correction, team foul number 10.
So you can't use that rear end that way, is what you're saying.
You used to be able to do all that stuff.
I remember being coached that way back in the dark ages.
Tom Izzo calls that tagging. Go tag your man. It's a polite way of saying drive him off the spot. Tom Izzo used to put football helmets on. I don't know if he does that anymore, but in the early October, they'd wear football helmets for their rebounding drills.
Be like all 10 players on the floor here today should be wearing football helmets the way this game has been so physical.
Well, the officials, again, I think they've done a really good job. This is not easy stuff out there.
Yeah, Jerry Pollard and his crew have been great. Snead debating on shooting that, but now he'll turn and shoot over Culver. A tougher shot. It's short. And Sheboy rebound.
Boy, Snead cannot get anything clean. They are just airtight whenever he takes a jumper.
6.5 minutes to go. West Virginia with the ball up 11. McNeil looks to add to that. Too strong with his 3. Culver over the top again, gets the rebound, and a foul underneath.
Well, K-State, you look out there on the floor, and they've got Levi Stockard at 6'8", 240. And other than that, they have 4 guards out there on the floor, basically, with Snead kind of being a wing. And you've got Culver and Sheboy just barreling their way inside. You've got to have help from the guards. You've got to put 2 bodies on these guys.
Double bonus, shooting 2. It's the first. Hope you have Big 12 now on ESPN Plus. Here's what's ahead. Kansas coming here on February 12th on ESPN Plus. West Virginia at Baylor is a huge one. And K-State TCU. You can sign up now if you haven't already at ESPNplus.com. 1-2 for Culver. And a foul there on a grab. Will they get Shibwe? Do indeed. Number 3 on Oscar. We're going to walk to the other end of the floor with 6:21 to go, and K-State will have a 1-1.
Well, Bob Huggins just told Oscar Shibwe why. Why are you doing that? I mean, the ball's loose in the corner. I mean, the instincts that he has are go after every missed shot, but that one he should have backed away from.
First free throw today for Levi Stockard, who's an 80% foul shooter this year. Hasn't shoot a lot of them, but has been effective. He's now 21 of 26 from the line for the year.
Stockard's done a nice job today. Really, he's battling by himself basically on the inside against Shibwe and Culver, and a pretty good job of hanging in there.
Murphy will come in with 4 fouls at 6:21 to go and send Stockard to the bench after the 2 free throws. Mayween in for Gordon, and obviously Mayween's search for K-State, trying to get some more link down low with all the offensive rebounding, especially for Culver for West Virginia.
Xavier Sneed guarding Derek Culver down in the box. Look for Bob Huggins to go right in on the duck in, down low.
McBride keeping an eye, wants to feed Culver. Instead of 3 with 9 on the shot clock, rims out, and then Shibwe called for his 4th foul. He made contact with Sneed. So now Oscar Shibwe 4 personals with just under 6 minutes to go.
Well, that's the problem when you're that strong. You stick your arm out and just knock people over. Sneed just pushes off on Murphy and knocks him to the floor.
Yeah, if you get that arm bar like that and extend, you're going to get that called every time.
Oscar Shibwe is a tremendous player, but he's still learning a lot of things about how to play at this level, and those last 2 fouls really he could stay away from.
And those 2 fouls came in about a minute period on the clock, maybe a little more. 1-1 for Sneed. Swish. K-State just kind of hanging around here, Tim.
They're gritty. They don't go away. They don't go away. They got this kind of chip on their shoulder personality. They're not pretty on offense, but they hang in there with that rhinestone defense.
Sneed's free throws make it an 8-point game. Still just under 6 minutes to play. You got Shibwe on the bench with 4 fouls. You got Osaboyan back in the game playing with 4.
K-State back in the matchup zone. Very small on the defensive end.
Quick pass out of McBride 3.
West Virginia, great job recognizing the zone, shrinking the zone, going inside to open up the outside.
Look at K-State, 1 for 14 in 3-point shooting after going 9 for 18 from beyond the arc in the first meeting with West Virginia 2 weeks ago. Stop and pop, missed by Jada, fighting with Harler. Tied up, possession arrow to West Virginia.
Well, it's one thing to go cold. West Virginia has been up in K-State's face on every 3-point shot, and with a good high contest.
TCU and #1 Baylor coming up here on ESPN2 when we're finished. Harler traveled before he could get a timeout. He was falling to the court, and Bob Huggins has come all the way to midcourt. Let's get a quick update from the studio and Allison Williams.
Hey there, thanks guys so much. We just want to let the fans know if they're looking for the #1 team in the country, the Baylor Bears. They are underway against TCU. You can catch the start of that game over on the app. We'll have it here on ESPN2 when you guys go final in Morgantown.
Allison, thank you. Back here in Morgantown, a miss by Sneed. It stays an 11-point lead for West Virginia. Still 4:45 to go. Pull up, well off the left side by Napper, who chases it all the way into the backcourt to get his own miss.
Napper's fortunate there. That was just a rushed, forced decision.
McBride tipped by Culver, yanked down though by Jada. Sneed into the lane, lost the handle on it, taken away by Culver. Run out, Brandon Napper driving, flips, no.
There's nowhere to go. He's pushing the ball off the court, but K-State's has 3 defenders back.
Gordon behind the back and then trying to get it down low. Out of bounds off West Virginia. Gordon's going to give way. Look at his last play. Who did he go off of last?
It looks like Harler got it last.
Yeah, I think West Virginia. Good call. Sloan's come back in for K-State. 4 minutes to go. Deshaun Gordon down low in a crowd, able to find enough of a crease to lay it in.
He just backed his man in, and Harler just got caught flat-footed. Good move by Gordon. He's relentless. He's pesky.
Osaboyan feeding Culver.
That's the offense Bob Huggins likes to see. Take your time, a little high-low, the duck in down low.
Back to a double-digit lead for the Mountaineers. 17 and 13 for Culver. 3, Jada, a shot that K-State needed.
It's the first time in a long time, a little bit of air on the perimeter, and Jada took advantage.
K-State had missed their last 13 three-point shots in a row before that make by Cartier Jada. Osaboyan facing up on Murphy. McBride had to chase it back, gets Sloan out of position. McBride lost it, off his leg and out of bounds. It's going to be K-State ball when we come back to Morgantown with 2:46 to go.
Up next here on ESPN2, Baylor, TCU currently underway. What are your thoughts on this rivalry, if you will, King?
I think this will be a very interesting game just because, like you said, it is kind of a rivalry, but Baylor's #1 team in the country and they're playing exceptionally well. We'll see what happens.
That game currently airing on the ESPN app, and we'll move over to ESPN2 after yours goes final. Tim and Mark, back to you guys.
Allison, we'll get you to Waco as soon as we can. We have 2:46 left in Morgantown. K-State ball. They trail it by 8. Napper saying that went off Sloan. Looking for help. Rick Crawford looks down to Jerry Pollard, and they say it belongs to West Virginia.
That was a good move by Bob Huggins out of that long timeout, just to come out in a little pressure, and got it inbounded, but they couldn't get it to a guard.
Costly turnover for K-State. Two and a half minutes to go. Harler's 3. I've got a 2-point shot. I think they want to look at it.
There's really nothing to look at. His foot was clearly, half of it was on the line. But why not?
The last play is under
James
review.
Breeding wants to take another look at it.
I had a good angle,
You
Mark.
had the best thing. You had a better angle than I am, but I'm only sitting a foot away from you.
I
and
mean,
no
there you
doubt his
go.
right foot was on the line. That's a 2.
There you go. Okay. I'll make sure we
After
get it right.
review, Harler's shot is a 2.
A 10-point lead.
That was good offense, though, by West Virginia. They took their time. They've been reversing the ball, getting some better, cleaner looks by spacing the floor, reversing, and moving the ball and the player.
Maywayne with that left-handed dribble, barrels through, flips it up, it won't fall, but he'll shoot 2.
Derek Culver called for the personal. His second.
Sports Center coming up tonight after Duke Syracuse. John Butchiegross and John Anderson. They'll break down Sixers Celtics plus the crew in Miami with the latest news on Super Bowl 54 this year's Pro Football Hall of Fame class. Sports Center after college hoops on ESPN and the app.
Who do we have? Who do we have in the Super Bowl today or tomorrow, Mark?
I'm going to throw it right back at you and let you. You got San Francisco or Kansas City?
You've got to go with the best player alive right now in football.
And that's Patrick Mahomes.
It's pretty special. The most important, the best player and the most important player on the field is the quarterback, and Mahomes is pretty special. And he looks healthy again. He's starting to use his legs.
Sloan right on Napper. West Virginia content to eat some clock here. Up 8, under 2 minutes to go. Again, TCU Baylor coming up from Waco when we're finished. Harler's open. That's a 3.
Bob Huggins made a poignant statement earlier. He said, when you're open, you have to make shots because you're not that open that many times. You're not open a lot, especially against this defense.
Jada open enough to hit a 3 to respond for K-State. Get it back to an 8-point game with 1:28 left. And K-State burns their final timeout.
But West Virginia has done a better job today of spacing the floor, moving the ball quickly from side to side, not standing still, and then finding the open man. And that has not been there that often. And here comes Jada, and McBride just a touch late on the contest.
You look at Kansas State, no timeouts left, 1:28 to go. It seems like K-State's kind of been in that netherworld between 12 down and 8 to 6 down. Just haven't been able to get it down to that 2-possession game.
And listen, K-State has fought very, very hard today. Both teams have played extremely hard, but it comes down to who makes a few more shots. And West Virginia has spaced the court a little bit better down the stretch and found the open man. And K-State really has not found many opportunities to have clean looks from the three-point line.
If West Virginia is able to hang on, it would make them 5-3 in conference play and keep them near that upper echelon of the conference behind Baylor and Kansas.
So you have to find a way to get some open looks against West Virginia, because it's almost impossible to score around the rim against them with Culver and Shebue and all their length. I mean, not just those two guys, but Haley is 6'7", Matthew 6'7". They bring Asaboyan, and he's 6'7". So there's a lot of length around the rim, and they have 2 or 3 guys going after the ball all the time.
Kansas State pressure in full court here, and the foul, Jada on Napper, who hasn't shot a lot of free throws this year, but has been effective at the line, 83% on the year coming in. Will be his first free throws of this game, shooting 2. Both teams in the double bonus. Napper's been battling a case of the flu, missed the Big 12 SEC Challenge game. Actually played 1 minute of the Mizzou game and then missed the Texas Tech game on Wednesday night. As McGurl to the bench for K-State.
Well, he's important because he's kind of a dribble penetrate type guard. He gets him going in transition. Good on-ball defender as well.
And knocks down both free throws to make it a double-digit lead again for the Mountaineers. Sloan with a spin in the lane, a floater, bouncing, tipped at the end by Mayween, and it didn't go in. Harler. K-State was trying to foul, but couldn't foul him, and now we'll play it out.
Culver wanted it down low, and he was a little upset with Harler, but Harler made a smart move. He didn't want to try to pinch that into him. He wasn't open enough. Using clock is a must.
We're going to get a flagrant foul is what I just saw.
1 foul has been whistled on number 4, David Sloan.
Against Sloan of Kansas State.
His 3rd.
Well, I believe Sloan off the ball was holding his man, and You're not making a play on the basketball, which he clearly wasn't.
And that's a flagrant one. So just trying to stop the clock, but you got to do it when somebody has possession of the ball. And Saboyan hits the first free throw.
He's trying to give the foul, but that's the old hack-a-shack back in the old days. Just grab him when he comes across half court, but you can't do that in college.
1-2 for Saboyan. 11-point lead for West Virginia, just over a minute left. So with the flagrant foul, West Virginia keeps the ball. Now Rick Crawford to the table. There's the confusion here over the clock.
There's a lot of confusion today.
Well, they started the shot clock at 29.
1 minute.
Minute to go in Morgantown. Looks like West Virginia's going to improve to 17-4. It's been a double-double day for Culver, who adds on to that.
Well, that's why Brandon Napper is important for West Virginia. You see that? He just dribbled out the clock, waited for K-State to make a mistake.
West Virginia will go to 17-4, 5-3 in conference. K-State will drop to 9-12 and 2-6 at conference play. A major turnaround here in the last 34 seconds.
That's good bounce back for West Virginia. You know, you miss shots, you continually have up and down offensive performances. Sometimes it just goes right through the team and becomes an epidemic, and you lose total confidence. But today they played with a lot of confidence, but it started with their defense and the activity on the inside of Derek Culver.
Well, Tim Welsh, I think we got the type of game we anticipated here today.
Well, you might say it was a choppy game. I disagree. I think it was just two real good defensive teams just going toe-to-toe. Teams playing very hard and gritty. And at the end, West Virginia just had too much power on the inside with Derek Culver.
19 points for Culver, 14 rebounds. Culver tried to slam, missed it, then falls hard to the court.
Well, what is he doing going to the rim? That's my question, and Bob Huggins' question as well. All right, just pull it out. Kansas State is not fouling.
Didn't we learn this lesson in Lawrence not long ago?
We thought. You want to play hard to the horn. Nothing illegal about it, but when your coach doesn't want you to do it, then you don't do it. You listen to the coach. That's my theory. Whatever he wants, you do.
Sloan, three, good. 66-58, back to an 8-point game with just 17 seconds left. Napper running it ahead. And now they get it to McNeil, and now K-State will let it play out. 66-57, a hard-fought win in front of a sellout crowd today in Morgantown. West Virginia will win it by 8. That's going to take care of things here in Morgantown. For Tim Welsh and our entire crew, I'm Mark Neely. Thanks so much for sharing this one with us. Our Saturday showcase continues. We send you to Waco, TCU versus #1 Baylor, Chucky Kemp and Chris Spatola.